Hey guys, Daniel Alexander here with Tutors for Transcendence, and I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you guys about the idea of the metaphor of the universe, right? So, in other videos I kind of talked about this idea of having infinitude as our foundation, and when you begin to start understanding that all of creation is arising from this kind of singular idea of infinitude, or this infinite source, infinite substance, however you want to say it, you start seeing this kind of grander pattern, right? And it was something, in my process of transcendence and awakening, or whatever you want to call it, I began to start seeing my reality differently, and part of that was seeing the metaphor or the idea behind everything, right? Seeing the symbolism in these kind of three-dimensional projections in our reality. So, for instance, a tree, right? I talk a lot about trees, and there's so much to the idea of a tree, right? You can sit for a lifetime and contemplate the ideas of a tree, and those ideas, right, are a very clear representation or expression of the source that they are arising from, or the source that they are arising within, you might say. And so the same goes with all living things, of course, right? It just so happens, a tree is a very unique and clear expression, and it's kind of, in a lot of ways, foundation to the abundance of life that we see on this planet, right? Really, that's something to contemplate, that this planet would not be so full of life if it were not for trees, okay? But that's a topic for another discussion. So, the idea here is recognizing that everything, right? Every, standing wave of energy. I say that a lot. It's another way of kind of saying material expression, because to say material expression is it can be confusing, because in reality, there is no matter. There is no solid substance, right? Matter is really just standing waves of energy. So, when I say standing waves of energy, this leaf is a standing wave of energy. The stick is a standing wave of energy. I, in essence, am a standing wave of energy, at least in this creational form, right? At least within this creative reality. And so, again, we are trying to see that original source, that original infinitude, expressed into all of these different forms, all of these different realities, right? So, you could look at a rock, and perhaps, if we could see on the molecular level, obviously it would be very clear, crystalline expression of that infinite source. But even on the outer level, there is so much metaphor to a rock, right? The way that it's tumbled through time and polished against the friction of this world, and its crystalline structure, and you can relate that to Christ consciousness, or this perfect organization of awareness and being. Or the metaphor of grasses, right? Or the metaphor of I said the trees, but of water, or the metaphor of air, the metaphor of fire, and the earth, of course. And with all these things, they are all very clear expressions of infinitude, right? It's kind of like this whole reality, if you start with this infinite source, right? This non-polarized infinite substance, or infinite vacuum, however you want to call it, but truly infinite source, unfolds through an interaction with itself and begins to create a polarized manifestation that we know as this reality, right? It's this three-dimensional holographic fractal unfoldment perfected through the phi ratio, right? And that's another topic, but just a quick understanding there is the phi ratio is the only ratio which allows what you might say infinite density to interact with infinite vacuum. That would be a way of saying it, or infinite collapse, infinite nesting. It's the ratio of harmonics in music, right? And so it's that constructive interference, right? So nature, right, is the syntropic constructive interference patterns of the universe, and so nature follows this phi ratio and really the Fibonacci sequence. But that's a topic for another discussion. But it's related here in the sense that we're just trying to see that pattern, right? We're trying to see this sort of unfoldment process. So I just want to share that with you guys, and perhaps it's something that you can begin to apply in your own life, is this idea of perceiving the symbolism in your reality, right? And it's not just on, right? There's sort of the spectrum, you might say, of symbolic expression, where you can go like right to the core of it and look at a tree, and you can literally see that expression of infinitude as this polarized fractal electromagnetic hydrodynamic flowing interchange between the heaven and earth, right? The roots fractally branching and receiving the information of the earth, and the branches above fractally branching out and receiving the information of the sky, and that there's an interchange going on there, right? The water is moving upward, and the carbon, this crystalline form of the carbon dioxide, is kind of being sucked into the more condensed form of the tree, and so you have this kind of liquid diamond flowing in the etheric breeze of the world. So yeah, there's this spectrum, and on the other end of that spectrum, you can look at a tree and you can say, this tree is sturdy, and it's tall, and it's powerful, and it's flexible, and all of these things that perhaps are more surface level, but still have their own profundity. If I said that word right, it's a funny word. And as well, even in our lives, not just in referring to actual so-called physical things, but the metaphorical and symbolic expressions of our lives is a very important thing to acknowledge, and seeing the patterns, seeing the purpose, making these connections of why we experience certain things, right? Recognizing that in essence everything in our lives has purpose, right? My dog has come back to say hello, my family dog. Hey buddy, good boy. He's learning how to explore, but come back and be off his leash. So anyways, I'll leave it there. I think this is a good stopping point, and just encourage you guys to start seeing your reality in new ways, and really try to find those underlying ideas that are inherent in the totality of this expression of this universe. So feel free to subscribe, comment, and ask questions, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.